I'm your destiny.
You're much more than that, Cirilla.
Geralt?
Roach is by the gate. If anyone other than me leaves this place.
I need to understand some things.
The world is changing. Centra isn't safe for you anymore.
Hi guys! Welcome to Bobuya Channel. The Witcher Season 2 was greenlit weeks before the first was even released. Such was Netflix's confidence in the series. And it turns out the media giant's intuition paid off, with the show storming to number 2 in the most watched series of 2019.
I remember hearing stories about witches.
I'm a big fan of fantasy. Henry Cavill, Geralt of Rivia, told Variety when asked what appealed to him about the role. I love the genre. My dad was reading it to me before I could read. This is just slightly different from your average fantasy genre. There's something a bit more grim about it, and I've been told that's the Polish way. So there's a heavy Polish influence. There's just a harder edge, which I found kind of fascinating. In the same way that in Game of Thrones you didn't know who was going to die, in The Witcher you can't anticipate what's going to happen, because it is quite a grim world. Along with a poster and a teaser trailer that featured Geralt of Rivia and Princess Cirilla of Cintra. Yes, we were truly spoiled. Netflix's first ever WitcherCon, an event for fans of the games, comics, TV series, and anime film Nightmare of the Wolf.
Created by magic. Roaming the continent.
Announced that the release date is December 17, 2021. There is still a lot of work to be done in post-production. Showrunner Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich said back in August during the Television Critics Association summer press tour via IGN. So I'm back and forth between Los Angeles and London completing that, and that is just where all of our focus is right now, because we need a great season 2 if we have a hope of having a season 3.
Who the hell are you?
Sometimes I feel so afraid.
Filming wrapped on The Witcher's second installment back in April, and to celebrate, Netflix shared a behind-the-scenes video featuring Henry Cavill and Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich teasing what's to come. None of us has ever experienced a television season like this before, I'm sure. We cannot wait to show you what Geralt and Ciri, and Yennefer and Jaskier, and all of your favorites have been up to since we left them at the Battle of Sodden Hill. In a statement to Deadline, Hissrich confirmed that Cavill, Enya Chalotra, Yennefer, and Freya Allan Ciri will all return for Season 2, which was to be expected given that they star in a number of books the show is based on. Triss, Anna Schaffer, Jaskier, Joey Beatty, Kaer, Eamon Farron, Tissaia, Mai Anna Buring, Stregobor, Lars Mikkelsen, Artorias, Terrence Maynard, Phil Evandrel, Tom Canton, Murda, Lily Cooper, Sabrina, Therica Wilson-Reed, Yarpen Zigrin, Jeremy Crawford, and Istred, Royce Pearson will all feature. And you can expect more from Mimi and Ditwini.
The whole world.
Facing your fear is not easy, but I am here for you.
Fringilla is one of those characters that we're going to delve into even more, Hissrich said, via Vulture. We're digging deeper into her past and how she ended up at Nilfgaard, who she is as a person, and how she and Yennefer ended up on such different paths. She gets to do a lot more. Carmel Laniato, Dolittle, will play Violet, a young girl whose playful and whimsical demeanor is a front for a smarter and more sadistic character, according to Deadline. And according to showrunner Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich, we can expect to see some queer representation next season as well. After denying there were any homoerotic undertones in Season 1, The Witcher boss promised during a Reddit AMA that this would be rectified ready for Season 2. Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich recently revealed some major spoilers for the Season 2 premiere episode, and fans were loving the information. It was announced in a Twitter video that the first episode would be an adaptation of Andrzej Sapkowski's A Grain of Truth, one of the stories, on which the show is based, that was cut from the first season.
Say run. You run. When I say hide,
We have to stay.
you hide.
It's a story of a father and daughter coming together in a place that doesn't quite feel safe for them. And of course, we really get into Nivellen, who's played by the incomparable Christopher Hibju, and we get to explore his character and his backstory with Geralt as well, Hisrich explained. It's really the perfect kickoff for Season 2 because it's about family. It's about the secrets that we keep from each other. And it's about the monsters that we are inside sometimes, Hisrich added about the second season's planned debut episode. We also had some details about Season 2's plot, direct from Netflix, last year. Convinced Yennefer's life was lost at the Battle of Sodden, Geralt of Rivia brings Princess Cirilla to the safest place he knows, his childhood home of Kaer Morhen. Its synopsis reads, "While the continent's kings, elves, humans, and demons strive for supremacy outside its walls, he must protect the girl from something far more dangerous. The mysterious power she possesses inside." Which all sounds very exciting, doesn't it? Hisrich promised a more intense second season. What I would say is that Season 1 is very much about building blocks. It's about constructing the world and setting up these characters and putting them on paths and knocking those dominoes over.
Run! Vesemir said that the world outside these walls.
When you get to Season 2, all of those things start to come to play, which is that characters start meeting each other, sometimes getting along, sometimes not. All those things that we set up, Geralt and Yennefer, Geralt and Ciri, Yennefer and Ciri. All of the different kingdoms that you just barely hear about in Season 1 start rising to the surface in Season 2. So the storytelling is a little more intense in a way, and maybe a little more focused and driven in the journeys that we're telling in Season 2. The narrative structure was put in place so that we could tell Geralt's short stories, the foundation of the whole Witcher world, in my opinion, while Ciri and Yennefer could also be a part of the action. Their stories don't happen simultaneously, so we knew we needed to play with time a bit. This will definitely change in Season 2, as their stories have begun to converge. Chatting to Vulture, Hisrich expanded on that, adding, "The stories will be told in a much more linear fashion. They won't all be one story. It's not like all three are together and happy all the time. But I do want to employ some different ways to look at time series-wide."
It's a dangerous place, but you can find power and purpose. Where is she?
I think that there is a lot that we couldn't fit into Season 1. There are different short stories that I would love to highlight and focus on. We may end up doing those in the future, via flashback, for instance, but no, we won't have things happening across 100 years at the same time anymore.
It's more than you're barking for. Are you sure you're ready for this?
One of the biggest changes we've made is to make sure that the scripts aren't too long. It's a terrible thing when you shoot a story that you're proud of, and then it's 9 to 5 minutes long and you're trying to fit it into 60 minutes of television.
Elves taught humans how to turn chaos into magic. And then the humans slaughtered them.
It was shared on Twitter with the caption, "Destiny awaits the lion cub of Sintra in Season 2.
Dangerous thing in this world. But
Without control, chaos will kill you.
Chatting about what Ciri's story will entail in Season 2, Hisrich told TV Guide, "One of the things that of course happens when you are adapting material is that you have these 8 episodes, they're an hour long each, and we had much more of Ciri's story in Season 1 that we ended up having to trim down. And it's one of the things that when I look at the season, I see she's not as present, Ciri's not as present as I would have liked her to be."
Some money.
It's all it needs to be.
Something out there waits for you.
This child will be extraordinary.
Yennefer, imagine the most powerful woman in the world.
So in Season 2, we're really digging in with her character, and we're going to understand her a lot more, where she starts training, where she actually becomes the character that we know from the books and later from the video games. We will see her become that person. But she doesn't change on a dime. What we don't want to do is forget where she came from. The scene takes place in a small mountain town. A merchant man is looking for a place to stay with his wife and daughter. As he inquires about a room, he hears a piercing scream and turns to discover that his wife has disappeared and his daughter is covered in blood. He runs to his carriage, but before he can reach safety, a monster pulls him into the darkness where he meets his grisly end.